Hey everybody, you're listening to the Steve B Show. I am your assigned host, Stephen Boyle. Well, we have a mound of things to talk about, and they are all very important issues. There's stuff going on in our country, there's stuff going on outside our country. It's just a big fluke of chaos, and people are not realizing this. Before I get into all this chaos and all of this lunacy and all of this hypocrisy and everything, okay? I want to get into, I just want to talk a little bit about my still picture I have up. It's obviously not of me, but it's of this poster or a chat. And I'm putting that up for one basic reason. I'm trying to get everybody to watch that documentary that I posted in my last show in the description. This poster is from that. Okay? This is one of the biggest parts of the video or the documentary. It's very important. And I'm not going to tell you what it's about. I'm not going to talk to you what it's about. I'm not going to explain it. I'm not going to get into a whole rigmarole over it. I want you to understand it for yourself. That is half of the battle, folks, is actually understanding it for yourself. Not to have somebody else tell you. Folks, that documentary is one of the most important documentaries I could ever tell you about. That documentary will make you understand what is going on around us and in our country so much more if you just watched that. It would be so clear. I wish there were more people who watched it and more people. I wish it was publicized so much more than what it is. Really. It should be national. However, I'm trying to do my best on making my voice heard and also trying to publicize this documentary because it is something that everybody in this country needs to see and needs to hear. The facts presented in this documentary are so overwhelming, so monumental. It just pours over everything. But I'm not going to talk more about this documentary. You need to see it for yourself. I already have seen it. That is how I basically started my outspeaking. And also, obviously, like I talked about last week, my mentors. And things like that. So, that's that. But please, if there's nothing else that you take out of this video or this show today, please watch that documentary. Now, there is tons of issues going on, both within our country and outside our country, but the big thing we're going to talk about is Russia and Ukraine. But not only that, we will be talking about, and what's going on with Russia and Ukraine. It's the perfect time to talk about the difference between communism, Nazism, fascism, all of these sorts of controlled governments. What's the difference between them all? What is the difference? What's so bad about these things? We will get into that. Also, Harry Reid talking about something about Obamacare on the Senate floor. He mentioned something that really outrages me, and we will get into that. Also, a left-wing loony from Harvard put in her newspaper some ridiculous ideas. We will get to those ideas and I will respond, and this will be the perfect time to talk about the education system. Boy, everything is falling apart in front of us. So, we have a lot to talk about. Oh, and also I watched something on Hannity today that was incredible. Okay, I want to get into this green business. Okay, honestly, they were talking about this green business and how I'll get into it in a little towards the end of the show, but it is under that big umbrella of environmentalism. But you have global warming, which is under environmentalism, and then you have the green energy and the green BS. I'm going to get into that green stuff. Folks, it's just total gobbledygook. Honestly, that's all it is. Gobbledygook. We'll get into that in a little. We'll get into that later on. Now, I want to start everything off with a couple of sound bites. These were from people who as far back as 2008, two people suggested that Russia was an actual threat. Can you actually believe it? Now, these people were totally ostracized and everything for even suggesting such a claim. They were told as if they were being mentioned as if they were staying back in the 50s. And, oh, how can you say that? We're not dealing with Stalin here. They were looked at as idiots, as morons, as totally absurd people. Here's the sound bites. I want you to listen and listen carefully. This first one was from back in 2008, and the second one was from back in 2012. And I want you to listen to them, and listen to them very carefully.
After the Russian army invaded the nation of Georgia, Senator Obama's reaction was one of indecision and moral equivalence, the kind of response that would only encourage Russia's Putin to invade Ukraine next.
When you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia. Not Al-Qaeda, you said Russia. In the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back because, the Cold War has been over for 20 years.
Russia, I indicated, is a geopolitical foe. Not a,
Number one.
Excuse me. It's a geopolitical foe. And I said in the same paragraph, I said, and Iran is the greatest national security threat we face. Russia does continue to battle us in the UN time and time again. I have clear eyes on this. I'm not going to wear rose-colored glasses when it comes to Russia or Mr. Putin.
So, folks, here you have Sarah Palin back on October 21st, 2008 in Reno, Nevada, talking about how the invasion into Georgia, which Russia still has a strong hand in Georgia. They haven't forgotten about Georgia. No, for those of you who are uneducated or who are the liberals or the low information voter, no, we're not talking about Georgia the state. We're talking about Georgia the country. No, Putin hasn't forgot about Georgia, and he is doing this very slowly. He's doing it quickly. But he is not doing this. He's doing it quickly, but he's not doing it that quickly. He's doing it in steps. He's very strategic about this. He knows what he's doing. He knows. He's planning this, and he is going to do it. There's no stopping Putin unless you want an all-out World War III. That's the only way to stop this guy. Honestly, that will be the final straw. That will be the final solution. World War III. And if we do nothing, people will die anyway. But anyway, don't worry. Putin is going to he is going to have Georgia become part of Russia. He is going to get Ukraine as part of Russia. There's no denying that. He is sending in troops. Okay, he's starting off though with he started off with Georgia, with the northernmost point and also the coastal region. Okay, that's where he started off. Okay, they're sort of he's sort of very strategic, and he's also starting with the island off the coast of Ukraine, Crimea. Okay, the island off the coast of Ukraine, which is a part of Ukraine. Okay, a part of Ukraine. Now, why do you think, let's just sort of let's use some common sense here, folks. Why would you think that Putin would want in Georgia, and again, for those of you who don't know, we're talking about Georgia, the country. Why would he want the northernmost point of Georgia to be under strong Russian force, and also the coastal region of Georgia under strong Russian force? Why would Putin want to take control over the island off the coast of Ukraine? Well, let's think about this here, folks. Military, ships, exporting, importing. That's a big thing. The more they have, the more they have as far as ocean goes, the more they can get, the more money they can get, the more control they have. It's clear. It's 100% clear. And the reason why they took control over the northernmost point of Georgia, it's just that much closer to Russia. They're not going to start in the center of Georgia. He's not doing this ridiculously or in a radical way. And he's not going to take control over West Ukraine first. He's going to take over East Ukraine first. And then it'll be West Ukraine. And eventually it'll be other countries in Europe. It'll gradually get bigger and bigger and bigger. That's basically what's going to end up happening. Folks, and you know what? If you're like, oh, how can you prove that? Folks, he has control over pipelines that go from Russia to Europe. And Putin has said he will gladly shut those off if the European Union and others don't cooperate. Or if they put forth too much tension. And the European Union and Obama and Kerry putting all these sanctions and threatening to take him out of the G8. This isn't going to stop him. He's a former KGB soldier. He's a thug. He's an authoritarian. He's a dictator. Nothing's going to stop this guy. He is reassembling the Soviet Union. It is 100% clear he's doing this. There is no denying that fact. No denying whatsoever. Then you have these people who are like, oh, well, then why is this such a big problem? There's nothing we can do about it. You know why there's nothing we can do about it? You know why? Because we have sat on our lazy butts over the past 6 years and done nothing. Not a thing. We have let this dictator do whatever the hell he wants. And this is the price we pay. What does Obama say? Oh, if you cross this red line, there will be consequences. Well, Putin crosses it, and guess what? Nothing happens. Either that, or Obama says, oh, there's going to be consequences. There's not going to be any consequences. There's going to be nothing. Nothing. Nothing that this idiot says is going to stop Putin. You know what it means to Putin? What the European Union is doing and what Obama says? It means nothing. He's gonna do what he wants. He's going to do what he wants. He is going to take control over as much land as he can. As much land as he can. And he's gonna, he doesn't care about international law. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. And we're just gonna, there's nothing we can do other than go to war. And if we go to war with Russia, folks, I'm already calling it. If we go to war, if anyone goes to war with Russia, it is World War III. There's no doubt about that. There is no doubt that it will be World War III. No doubt. You can't fight that fact. Russia has a powerful military. Very powerful. They have nuclear weapons. We have been decreasing the amount of nuclear weapons. Oh, because nuclear energy and nuclear stuff, we don't want that. So now we have one of the lowest in the world of the amount of nuclear weapons that we have, which is necessary for defense against North Korea and against China, who have ample amounts of nuclear weapons. Ample. You know what's even more frightening? There is an alliance now. Putin and the leader of China are in agreement now. They're forming an alliance as we speak. Basically, the leader of China is saying, "Oh, I agree with you in taking control over the Ukraine. I agree with you. Please keep doing this." You know why? Because China wants to take over more land. So when China ends up wanting to invade, let's say, Japan, guess what's going to end up happening? Everybody around them will be saying, no, 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 no. But Russia will be behind China because they were behind Putin when he was invading the Ukraine. And folks, if the China and the Russian military come together, we're done. Honestly, we are done. It will be disastrous. I don't think people realize. I was told the other day, what difference does this make? What difference does this make? This is the world. Look back. I'm sorry that I'm getting so infuriated over this, but look back in history. Okay? Look back. Look back in history. People think that what happened in World War II is going to stay in World War II and stay in the 40s and 50s and not happen again. Well, I'm sorry, folks, but we're coming to that point again. We are coming to that point again. And it's not only in the world perspective, in our country's perspective too. Everything is falling apart. Economically, socially, everything. And people are totally blind to this. Totally 100% blind. It's scary. People who weren't around, and I wasn't even around when communism was around, but I have read about it and I'm reading about it. It's scary. It's not good. I don't think people understand the actual disaster it causes. Disaster that these people create. They don't understand. These young kids, these millennials, they don't have a clue. They think everything is just fine and that the world would never, that a president would never do this. Well, I'm sorry to say, folks, but it happens. Look back in history. Look back for a minute. And tell me if it didn't happen. It did. It did. I'm going to even press this issue a little bit further. Why do you think Obama is doing nothing? Why? Why? Why do you think Obama is doing nothing? Because there is an answer to this question. And it's not that he's helpless or that he's weak. That's not the answer. Because, folks, the real Obama is coming out in our country. Look around you. Look at what's going on. Obama is more worried about what's going on within our country and fundamentally transforming our country than what's going on back out in Russia. But why isn't he worried about that? Why? Why is he more worried about what's going on here than what's going on there? Why? Oh, well, that's the right thing to do. Okay, so Obamacare, pressing that issue, pressing amnesty, immigration, illegal immigration, mind you, and all of this other BS is more important to us than a dictator who is going into Ukraine, who is basically spreading dictatorship. A dictatorship. China and Russia are coming into alliance. I would think our biggest threat right now would be our security of our country. That's what at least I would think would be the right thing to do. Not worry about Obamacare or the welfare state or all of this other BS that's failing and has been a failure ever since this president has been in office. We don't want him doing any more to our government. We don't want him doing any more. And the things we do want him to do, he doesn't care. So that brings me to my original question. Why is he more worried about... Actually, folks, do you know, back during the weekend, do you know that he skipped a national security meeting? What in the world is more important than a national security meeting in the midst of what could be becoming World War III? What is so important that he had to skip a national security meeting? What is so important? I would love to know that. No one has gotten the answer on that front. No one. Absolutely no one. And on Friday, not 33 minutes after he gave his speech, he went to this Democratic DNC meeting, dinner. And he was saying, oh, it's Friday. So instead of worrying about Russia and our security of our country with the potential alliance that's forming between Russia and China, we are more worried about a DNC meeting dinner. And that it's Friday. That's what's apparently more important. This president is doing so much. He's going on so many vacations. Oh, that's just something that you can do. Folks, we have issues with this country. This is not the time for him to be going around playing golf. This is not the time for him to be going around watching movies. This is the time for him to be actually doing something. But he isn't doing anything, and he never has. So again, why is our president, why is he just sitting there as far as foreign policy? Why doesn't he care what's going on in Russia? Why is he drawing these imaginary red lines that Putin doesn't even give a rat's behind about? He's just going to go over them, and Obama won't do anything. Why is Obama basically not doing anything? You know why? This is part of the fundamental transformation that is needed for our country. We cannot be seen as the greatest country anymore. We can't be the ones on top. That's part of the fundamental transformation of our country. He's encouraging dictatorship by doing nothing. He's basically allowing Putin to do whatever he wants. Why? Because he doesn't want America to be great anymore. He doesn't. He doesn't see America as a great country. He hates it. He hates it to death. Folks, I think now is a great time in the program to talk about Nazism versus communism. Folks, when I was in school, I was taught that Nazism was on the extreme right of the political spectrum, and that communism was on the extreme left of the spectrum, political spectrum. And that where we were was in the political center. And that the Republicans were a little bit to the right and that the Democrats were a little bit to the left. Part of this spectrum is true. Part of it is untrue. The biggest problem with this is that the Nazis were not all the way on the right. They weren't. You know what's all the way to the right? 0% government. That doesn't lead to dictators. Having no government, no leaders, would mean just people. Just people, no leaders. So how could that form into a dictatorship? You don't have any. Over the course, since the Soviet Union has fallen, you haven't had zero government in Russia. So don't go around here telling me that the political right or the conservatives are Nazis. They're not Nazis. Republicans aren't Nazis. They don't try to control people's lives. I was told last week, oh, Republicans are closer to the communists than the Democrats are. How in the world is that possible? We don't try to control people's lives. We look at freedom, individual freedom. Don't give me that crap. That's just another tactic used to support the liberal cause. Don't give me that BS. You know, folks, it's just really, really difficult. You can never get through liberals' minds. no matter what you say, no matter what you do, you're always going to be looked at as a racist, a bigot, a homophobe, a sexist. It won't make any difference, okay? But, folks, there is no difference between, there's a minute difference. And you know what you know how the political parties really are? They actually go up and down. That's how they go. Oh, what do you mean they go up and down? You have the fundamental economic, the economic, our economic foundation. And what is that? Well, wherever you are in the spectrum, are you a little bit to the right? Are you closer to anarchy? Or are you closer to big government? Where are you on that spectrum? Now, the founding fathers were not at 0% government because that's what they wanted after Britain. But that didn't work. Okay, after Britain and the king ruled. So the founding fathers said, you know what? We can't have 0% government, but we need a little bit of government. A little bit of government is necessary. And that's what conservatives are for. Not for 0% government. You have these people who are like, oh, the Tea Party is anti-government. No. You're misunderstanding. We are anti-big government. We're not anti-government. No society can survive without government. So don't give me that liberal malarkey. Just a bunch of idiots. They don't know any better. They don't know the fundamentals of the Tea Party. They probably haven't even read the Constitution. So don't go around here telling me that, the Tea Party, it's anti-government, conservatives, No! We're not anarchists. We're anti-big government. We're anti-socialism, anti-communism, anti-Nazism. So you have the basic economic system. And you have the political parties. Again, they go up and down. You have the general ideas of these political parties. But, where they are is important. Where the actual political parties are on the spectrum are important. Yes, there are Republicans out there who are progressive and who are big government. They want to rule the world. There are Democrats who are big government, who want to rule the world. But you can't have that. You need the Republicans or the conservatives brought over to at least the middle. You need the Democrats brought over to at least the middle, so that they're both along the same line. Remember, this is not a matter of right or left. It doesn't go vertically, the political parties. They go up and down. The Democrat parties, or the political parties go up and down. When you have the Republican Party all the way over, or the conservatives all the way over to the left, which they wouldn't really be called conservatives anymore. They would be more called progressives. But in any case, this is where Putin is. This is where Hitler was. They are anti-gay. they will have anybody who is gay killed. Killed. Destroyed. And Putin is doing that. You'll have blacks, Hispanics, they'll all be killed. Don't worry, that'll eventually happen. Jewish, killed. Anybody who goes against Christianity. Now, people will say, "Oh, well, that's how people in the Republicans and conservatives think." Yes, but we don't say, "Oh, if you don't think that, we're gonna kill you. We're gonna murder you." Folks, you need to remember something. This is a free country. We have the right to think whatever we want to think. So even though I, as an individual, do not believe in gay marriage, that doesn't mean that an individual should be murdered because they believe in gay marriage. That's outrageous. That's obviously controlling people. That's what a fascist or a Nazi will do. That's what they do. There's no really big difference between the communists and the Nazis. The only big difference is that really there isn't a difference. We're taught that there's a difference. We're taught that there's huge differences between the communists and the Nazis. But there isn't. Ultimately, they're the same. They're big government control freaks. That's who they are. You know, there's people out there who's like, "Oh, we need to really stop this madness with the Republicans and the conservatives because they're going to lead us to a Nazi state." No. Freedom is not Nazism. Being a constitutional conservative is not a Nazi. The people who made our Constitution are not Nazis. Far from it. Communists. Folks, the difference between communism and Nazism is the person. Really, that's all it is. Now, why does Putin hate Obama so much? Well, first of all, probably because he's black. Okay. He doesn't think black leaders should be around, first of all. He's probably looking at him like, I want to kill this guy because he's black. Yes, I would not doubt in 1 second that Putin is racist, sexist, homophobe. That is who is what these quote unquote liberals define us as. We are not Putin. And you have people praising Putin, saying, "Oh, he's more Christian and this and that and blah, blah, blah." Folks, he is Hitler all over again. And you know why he said that he's invading the Ukraine? You know why? for the righteousness and the greatness of Russia. That's why. There's no economic reason. It's just for the greatness of Russia. Folks, we do have another Hitler. Who is the other Stalin? Well, folks, Hitler, although he wasn't a big fan, although he really was, I believe, Hitler and Stalin did not have big differences. Actually, Hitler praised Stalin in his leading tactics. However, the difference between communists and Nazis, communists want to spread through the whole world. Okay? They want to spread their influence. Nazis want to stay in one place. They want to be the big guys of the world. They want to control the world. Fascists, they're kind of both. They're both. They want both to be the most powerful, but also spread their influence. But either way you look at it doesn't matter. They're all big government. Big government. They control you. They control what you can think. They can control what you say. They can control the media, the press. They control everything. So, folks, when it comes in terms of this Nazi versus communism debate, there's nothing, no difference. No difference. It all leads to the same fate. Death of millions of people. Millions. So whether you go by dictatorship, Obama's way, which is through a very slow process. Whether you go at it in an aggressive way, like Putin, because remember his background, KGB soldier, or whether you go at it at a moderate pace, it doesn't matter. The result is the same. Obama, honestly, there's not a lot of difference between him and there's no difference between him and Putin. Not a major difference. There's differences, but not major differences. They both want to be dictators. And that's probably another reason why they hate each other. Is that they both want to be dictators. And they both want to rule. But again, Obama really can't be an ultimate dictator because he would be thrown out of office. But again, he's doing it slowly and progressively, and he's really doing a good job of it. Folks, I'm going to try to sum this up. First of all, as far as this Russia-Ukraine deal, Russia's going to take control over Ukraine. There's nothing we can do. It doesn't matter what John Kerry says. Good God. Just want him to shut up. Please. And then after that, this deal between China and Russia, it's just the first step towards World War III. And basically, we can stay out of it and we better stay out of it for as long as we can. We ought to increase our security nationally. We ought to get more nuclear weapons. We ought to increase our stockpile. Because, folks, it's going to be a long, long fight. Dirty, bloody, messy, loud, and painful, and deadly. This doesn't end well. It really doesn't. It doesn't. You will not hear this from anybody else. The only person who has come close to this is Glenn Beck. And I want you to look up here on YouTube, Glenn Beck World War III. He has mentioned this, and mentioned this, and mentioned this. Also, New World Order. You ought to listen to that too. There were comments who are saying, "Oh, he's crazy! How could he even possibly consider such a ridiculous notion?" Folks, this is step 1 of our New World Order. Do you see it? And this time around, folks, if the U.S. comes crumbling down upon us, if our Constitution is shredded and thrown away like a plain old piece of paper, you know what's going to end up happening? This world will be a very scary place. This world will be a place that you don't want to live in. Very grim. Honestly. Very, very grim. And in the time that we need spiritual and godly advice is the time here in America where there are so many more atheists, so many more agnostics than ever before. Folks, dictators, they try to be God themselves. They try to decide who's doing right and who's doing wrong. They try to decide who's the greatest and who's not. They decide who's successful and who's not. That's what dictators do. These people, they don't believe in God. And if they do, it's not their main priority. If their main priority was God and believing in Him, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. I just want to warn everybody. It's not good. It's not looking good at all. It is literally, over the past month, things have just been falling apart so rapidly. So rapidly! It's not even funny. Nothing in Syria has been getting accomplished either. Venezuela? Did you see what's going on in Venezuela? It's totally phenomenal. It's phenomenal. what's going on. And it's not a good phenomenon either, obviously. Folks, that is the bit on the international stuff. If you still think after this 55 minutes almost that this is still not important, I don't know where the hell you are. You ought to open up your damn eyes and see what's going on. Read some history books for a change instead of looking at porn on the internet. Instead of watching Lady Gaga or watching Kim Kardashian. Read some history books for a change. Read what happened in World War II. Read how Stalin got into power. Read what Hitler did. And the millions of people. Read what Reagan did to bring down the Soviet Union. Compare Jimmy Carter, who was president in the 70s, to our president today. And tell me that there's no similarities. And tell me that they're not carbon copies of each other. I'm getting sick and tired of my generation. I really am. Honestly. So that's it on the international policy. I'm telling you folks, educate yourselves. Educate. Know what's going on for a change. Learn to care. I'm going to play you a soundbite. This was of Harry Reid last week on the House or on the Senate floor. This is ridiculous. It's only a few seconds long, but I'm still going to play it. I want you to listen to this. This is hilarious. Harry Reid last week on the Senate floor.
Despite all that good news, there's plenty of horror stories being told. All of them are untrue, but they're being told all over America. The leukemia patient whose insurance policy was canceled would die without her medication. Mr. President, that's an ad being paid for by two billionaire brothers. It's absolutely false.
Folks, honestly, do you hear this? Do you hear this idiot? He's claiming that not only the Republicans now, but you, the American people, are lying. So everybody talking, everybody speaking out against Obamacare, they're wrong. They're wrong. They're lies. They're lies. So what the American people are saying is a lie. And it's all for a political agenda. This is all for publicity. This is all to make themselves look good. Honestly, folks, I cannot even begin to describe these idiots. They're claiming that these accusations on Obamacare people who are losing their jobs over it. They're lying. They're not telling the truth. They're doing it for money. What have you? Harry Reid, he really needs to smarten up a little bit. Oh, that's right, he's a liberal. They never smarten up. You know, these people, they just are so stupid. They don't use any common sense. They don't even have common sense. That's totally out of their vocabulary. And what they do consider common sense, it's idiocy. You know who the liberals consider an idiot? Sarah Palin. And she was the one who said that Ukraine would invade Russia if this president stayed in power. But oh, that's right. She's an idiot. She's a bimbo. So, she's an idiot. I read some of the most disgusting things online about her. Folks, I was told a couple weeks ago that Hillary Clinton, mind you, is more qualified to be our president than Sarah Palin. Okay. How about Hillary Clinton saying that Venezuela right now is a democracy? Yeah, right it is. And she was saying, oh, that's not debatable. Of course it's debatable. Why are there people on the streets protesting? They're not doing it because they're free. They're doing it because it's a socialist government. No, duh. Open up your eyes for a minute. Apparently, this idiot, Hillary Clinton, is more qualifiable than Sarah Palin is. When Sarah Palin actually predicts what happened in the Ukraine. Oh, that was just a fluke. Oh yeah? What about everything else she's said? Everything else that apparently was a lie. It really, really aggravates me. These idiots. Really does. I can't begin to explain to you. I have another soundbite for you. And it is from Bill O'Reilly. This was aired last week. Boy, was I shocked. Actually, I wasn't really shocked. I was just more afraid for our country when I saw what happened. This woman, she wrote something in the Crimson newspaper for Harvard. I want you to listen to this. I really do. Very important. And I will comment on it in a minute. Here it is. Bill O'Reilly, last week.
Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. Freedom of speech under attack from the left. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. The American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU, set up to protect freedom of expression in America. And as you may know, the ACLU is a committed left-wing outfit. But now, some other very liberal people are trying to shut down free speech, and the ACLU is silent about it. Here's a vivid example. Writing in the Harvard Crimson paper, editorialist Sandra Korn says, quote, "It's tempting to decry frustrating restrictions on academic research as violations of academic freedom. Yet I would encourage student and worker organizers to instead use a framework of justice. After all, if we give up our obsessive reliance on the doctrine of academic freedom, we can consider more thoughtfully what is just." Now, isn't that swell? Editorialist Sandra Korn wants to stop academic research and opinion contained in that research with which she disagrees. She just wants justice. And of course, that justice would be imposed by Sandra Korn, who apparently knows all. Harvard University is about as left-wing as it gets. Very few conservative professors on campus. I know I'm matriculated there, as they say in academia. But overwhelming numbers are not enough for Sandra Korn. No. She wants a shutdown of any opposing points of view. And so do many others on the far left. And the technique in play right now is the smear. If you criticize people of color, including the president, you're a racist. Call for a stronger border with Mexico, you're anti-Hispanic. You oppose gay marriage, you are a homophobe. And if you call for responsibility in welfare programs, you are anti-poor. Those labels are designed to shut folks up. And it's working to some extent. If you are a conservative individual in Hollywood, in the entertainment industry, you'll be denied jobs. If you are conservative on the staff of the New York Times, you will not get good assignments. And if you are a fervent believer in God, you will not be invited to the swell cocktail parties in Manhattan and Georgetown. Oppressing free speech. Not unusual in far-left precincts. Communism wipes out all free expression. That's their doctrine. And now we see the uber-left in America trying to impose the same gag order. Well, it's not going to work. And this program will make sure of that. Sorry, Sandra Korn.
Folks, you have this Sandra Korn idiot from Harvard. The best, the elite college of the world. The greatest. Folks, I challenge you. Why in the world is Harvard, all these schools, whether they be public or colleges or what have you, why are they said to be the best in the country and possibly even the world? Why? You want to know why? They're indoctrination camps. Oh, how can you say such a thing? Well, look at Massachusetts. Look at New Jersey. Look at New York. Look at Maryland. Look at Delaware. What do they all have in common, folks? Liberals! Progressives! They're all about progressivism. You know, there was a interview that MRC TV Media Research Center did. And they asked, what's your intake on conservatives? And what's your intake on progressives? And apparently progressivism is so much more new, and it's hip, and it's with society, and it's great, and conservatism is so old-fashioned, old. unchanging, mean, bigoted, all this ridiculousness, okay? Anti-new, basically. But my question is this. What are you progressing towards? Progressivism. The key word there, progress. Progressive. What are you progressing towards? Oh, a better society. What is this better society? What? One where we're all free, and one where we all have loving for each other, and peace, and harmony, and all this other stuff. So how do we get this peace and harmony? Might I ask you? Who do we go by? Who is this idea that you're basically following this progressive theme on? They won't be able to answer that because they don't know who. And if they do tell you anybody, they'll say Obama or John Kerry or Al Gore or whoever. Ridiculous idiots. You may even get a progressive Republican thrown in there. It's hilarious. Okay? So then you ask, well, what is, let's say, Al Gore, Obama, Hillary Clinton, all these ridiculous idiots. Who are they? What are they progressing us towards? What? And they'll say, oh, a great society. But what are they progressing us towards? What is their policies? What is it that is progressing us towards a greater society? These leaders. And guess what the answer is, folks? Big government. Big government in all forms is evil. Big government in any way, shape, or form is bad. I don't care what you think. I don't care if you think that it's the government's position, which it isn't, to impose health care upon us. It's not. Because now the government can tell you what medicine you can or cannot take. The government is going to decide whether you can get a specific treatment, whether you can keep your doctor or not. More BS like what's going on with the IRS will occur. Because we can't have opposition. People need to open up their eyes for a minute. But they're not. Because they're blind. They're totally blind. So you have Harvard, the elite school of the country, of the world. That's the best. And what are we getting out of there? An idiot, Sandra Korn, which if you even look at her, she looks like a liberal. Yes, folks, I can tell who's a liberal just by the way they look. You can tell. You can honestly tell. At least I can. But no, folks, no. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. The crap that comes out of Harvard, the crap that comes out of Yale, the crap that comes out of Princeton, MIT, Penn State, all of these Ivy League elite colleges. It's ridiculous. My head is going to explode with all this propaganda, political BS coming out. Folks, no one understands how ludicrous it is. It honestly is so disturbing that the best colleges are indoctrinating our children into believing communism is okay, into believing Nazism is the right and communism is the left. We are not teaching our children reasoning. We are not teaching our children logic. We are teaching them that, you know what? 2 plus 2 can equal 5. Or 3 times 4 can equal 11. I read somewhere, I believe it was from Breitbart.com, on the Math Common Core. And it was said that 3 times 4 can equal 11 or be marked as correct if it's proven somehow. How can you prove 3 times 4 is 11? How? There's no way. 4 groups of 3 or 3 groups of 4 does not equal 11. It doesn't. And we're teaching our children that 12 minus 8, you have to take 10s from 8s, from 2s, from 1s. I don't even know what the hell it is all about. Look up some of these Common Core math questions and do the problems yourself and tell me if you can do the math. I saw one problem. It was like 56 plus 29. Okay? And it says, add the 10s. Instead of actually adding 56 plus 29, all you're doing is doing 5 plus 2. Really? I didn't know addition, and this is the reason why I did so horrible in math as a young child. I wondered why I would spend hours and hours and hours on these math problems that were so ridiculous. It was unclear. I didn't know what was going on. They are not teaching simple addition anymore, or simple subtraction, or simple multiplication, or simple division, or what have you. They are teaching us the state's way of doing math, because they want the parents to look like idiots. They want the parents to look like idiots. Why? So that the kid or the parent or both have to go to the state, i.e. the teacher, which the teacher has to go to the state to get the answer. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, folks. I can't even understand it. Our education system is in so much trouble. When people can't even know what 12 minus 8 is, we've got some serious issues, okay? Our priorities are not set. when you're in the real world, you never subtract 12 minus 8 by doing taking 10 away from 5 or 10 away from 8 or what have you. You don't do it like that. Our country is in so much trouble. It's not even funny. Our world is in so much trouble. It's not even funny. I don't think people really understand. They're just oblivious. They're just naive. They're totally naive. Finally, the last thing I want to talk about is I watched Hannity tonight, Pet of Hannity. There was a conversation, and this got to me really badly. It really got to me. You know why? Somehow it came about, well, of course you have Apple. They don't want anybody investing in their stocks who don't believe in man-made global warming. I'm not going to get into that nonsense anymore. I think you know where I stand on it, okay? But it somehow came about because Hannity, Sean Hannity, lost about 15 pounds. It may have been 25, it may have been 10, I don't know. I forget the exact amount of weight he lost, but he lost a certain number of weight. But he was asked, do you believe in green energy or do you believe in going green? And Hannity says no. So you don't believe in eating, I don't know, there was some ridiculous crap, organic crap. Oh yeah, going organic, eating cardboard, basically. Basically, that's what they want us to eat, is cardboard. They don't want to eat us, they don't want us eating anything. Oh, if you eat meat, then you're a bad person. You're killing the cows. You're killing animals. How could you? Really? We've been eating animals since we came about. Why do you think God put them on earth? Oh, well, they're here to live a life, and they're here, and we need to have sympathy for them. Folks, if we were to have sympathy for every single little fly, we would be infested. You know, these people don't understand. You don't live your life in fear about every little thing you're gonna eat. These people are ridiculous. Then they're so afraid of fossil fuels, and they're so afraid. Folks, you need to eat organically. Have you even seen the prices on this organic crap? It's so overpriced. It's ridiculous. A normal head of lettuce will cost, I don't know, I'm just throwing out random numbers here, maybe $3, $4. An organic head of lettuce will cost $10. It's ridiculous. The head of lettuce is no different than the organic head of lettuce. These people. Oh, there's no pesticides used. Well, if there's no pesticides used, then you have other crap on the lettuce. oh, well, they clean it and all this other crap. No, you still have crap on it. Oh, and then they do the, there's things that they do with your meat. And that's bad. Well, how in the world do you expect your meat to be clean? If we just slaughtered a cow and we didn't clean it properly, how in the heck would you expect to eat it without getting sick? These people are so illogical. They're so uncommon sense. And this lady told Hannity that, oh, you lost that weight, genuinely. How? Losing weight is losing weight. It doesn't matter how you lose it. I don't care if it's through eating organic or whatever. You lost weight. There is not as much fat in your body. These people are so stupid. They're idiots. Oh, going green. All of this shit. Excuse my language. Honestly. I am afraid for our country. I am afraid really badly when we actually think. And then she was going on and saying, oh, well, all this beef and meat is gonna give you lung disease, or no, not lung disease, heart disease and heart attacks and strokes and all this gobbledygook. Science that they're trying to impose upon us, just like global warming. I'm not going to get into that. These are the same people. I don't know. I really don't know. Okay? The one thing I do know is that you don't get heart attacks from eating meat. You get heart attacks from having an inactive lifestyle. And sometimes it's genetic. Sometimes it runs in the genes. But just because you eat meat and you eat it proportionally doesn't mean that you're gonna get a heart attack. And of course, this lady was from the New York Times, so it's no surprise that she thought that she was thinking all this BS. She probably loves Obama too, which is a pretty good shot about that. Folks, I hope you learned a little bit about what's going on with Russia and all of this other stuff, because honestly, folks, it's scary. It's really scary. Folks, that is it for today. I will be back next week. Hopefully there is no worse issues that happen in Russia. But with how everything has been progressing over the course of the past few months, several weeks, who knows? Who really knows? So, folks, have a fabulous week. And I will be back. And again, remember my website, thestevebshow.wordpress.com. There you will find a lot of great information coming up in the coming days. I will be doing a lot of blog posting on there and writing about some things as well. So please make sure you log on to that website within the next few days, as I will be, like I said, doing some blog posting. All right, folks, have a great week, and I will see you back here next week with some more current news. Thanks for listening to the Steve B Show. Have a great one, everybody.